Welcome to the Dungeon Coach live stream. Whether you're watching this live right now or sometime in the future, I got you covered. I want to help you guys with your Dungeons and Dragons questions. All the timestamps will be linked down below. And I also, if you want next level help, I also have some stuff that I offer my patrons each and every month. Because I want to say thank you for you supporting what I do here and helping me chase after this dream of mine of doing content creation full time. So these PDFs have DM resources, homebrew options to customize and tweak your game. Every single month I have magic items, traps, puzzles, riddles, character bonus perks to customize a wide variety of different characters. It's got entire rule systems like enchanting and lycanthropy and how to run those different types of things, and a ton of other stuff to input into your world, into your cities, into your rule systems, and just spark up that creativity each and every month. And for all of you that are watching this video in the future, or you're coming back to it at a later time and you had to leave during the live stream, I'm gonna have all the timestamps down below and in the chapters here at the bottom of the screen that you can click around and see which question I answered and jump around and find out what's most interesting to you. So on with the live stream. Oh, it's a big live stream tonight, people. We got an Unearthed Arcana Expert Classes video that we're going to be going through. I am going to play the video. You're going to see the full video on here. We'll stop and pause it and stuff and do the whole breakdown. But, oh, this is exciting. And apparently they're releasing something tomorrow, so you know I got to make a video about that. And that video is probably going to be, my video editor is crazy real life stuff going on. I have crazy real life stuff going on. My second son is going to be born in like 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. It's next week. So lots of crazy stuff happening. And then they drop this, and then yeah, so lots of crazy stuff. So what's happening, people? We got a big old crowd here to start this thing off with. So we are going to watch the video, and then after the video goes down, along as I'm giving my thoughts throughout the whole thing, I'm going to go to the chat afterwards, answer questions, what y'all's thoughts, what my thoughts are. If y'all can ask me questions about it, if I missed anything, and we can just dive all the way into this thing. And then of course I'll have my thing tomorrow, so we'll see. Thank you for the congrats. Yeah, it's our second and final kid, and then we're gonna just let them grow up into nice little D&Ders. And I have my two-person group, you know, because I'll Dungeon Master for the both of them. The mom can join. That's yeah. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Dungeon Wife is ready to be done being pregnant. So yeah, it's the, you know, I can only imagine what that's like. So yes. Also, this stream is brought to you by Josh Zellers. I was literally streaming earlier today on the second channel, Dungeon Coach Gaming. I play World of Warcraft on there. They just released an expansion. I was just chilling, hanging out. Josh Zellers swung by. He's like, "Coach, they just released Unearthed Arcana D." And I was like, whoa, Josh Zellers, come on. It was like a medieval times, like what's it called? Like a messenger boy came with the delivery message from the cavalry. They're coming. I was like, Josh Zellers, tell me more. Let's go. So shout out to Josh Zellers right there. So we are going to dive into this thing and let's see what we got going. Ooh, a courier. That's the word. Thank you, Sneaky Steve. Courier. That's where we were going. Josh Zellers says, "Coach, you have no clue how much that means to be shouted out my favorite YouTuber." Dude, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming by on all the channels, right? I appreciate you, dude. Good looking out. And let's go ahead and get into this thing. First of all, I'm going to do a sound check here. So I'm going to play a second of it, and then y'all tell me if you can hear it and if the sound's good. Because I've never done a video watch on a live stream before. So I did my best beforehand, but let's see.
Hello, everyone. We have a brand new Unearthed Arcana.
Also, side note, I have not seen this. I have purposely avoided seeing this in any way, shape, or form. I have no idea.
We have classes, subclasses, we have feats, conditions, we have new rules having to do with skill checks and attack rolls, as well as how a critical hit functions.
I thought they already talked about critical hits. Are they going back on what the critical hits were because they took it away? So too quiet, bit quiet. Okay, I'm gonna turn that up, and then I don't know which one of these levers I'm gonna turn up, but let's try it again here.
Classes, we have feats, conditions, we have new rules having to do with skill checks and attack rolls, as
Is that
well
better?
as how a critical
Is that better?
hit functions. So let's just...
Okay. What if I max it out here? Oh dear.
delve in right now and have an overview of all of that.
This
Is
Unearthed
that any
Arcana
better?
is filled with things. I can't wait for people to play test.
Okay.
We're playing testing them internally here at Wizards. And Leading the pack in this playtest for the classes are the Ranger, the Bard, and the Rogue. People are going to see in the next
Okay, here we go.
at Wizards.
Sorry,
And
we're all set up now.
this Unearthed Arcana
Okay.
is filled with things I can't wait for people to play test. We're playing testing them internally here
Playing testing.
at Wizards. And leading the pack in this playtest
Of course he says
for the
Ranger.
classes are the Ranger, the Bard, and the Rogue. People are going to see in the next few
Rogue, really? I've always thought the Rogue was fine, great, good. They got their skills, they got their sneak attack, solid. I never thought Rogues were too far off, but I don't know. But interesting, the Bard's getting some love. Interested to see what they do with that, and then of course Ranger. I'm surprised it didn't say Monk.
months, all of the classes from the 2014 Player's Handbook are going to appear in Unearthed Arcana so that people can read them, give feedback, play test them. Following after that, you're going to see a series of Unearthed Arcanas that also unveil new versions of subclasses as well as some brand new subclasses for those classes. The total number of subclasses when all is said and done, 48. So we have a lot of fun things ahead of us.
Okay.
I knew they had to redo some of those subclasses because as soon as they said something like, "Oh, you can't critically strike. Dungeon Masters can't critically strike," I'm like, okay, Grave Cleric? Interesting. I don't know how that's going to work. So they have to redo some of them, and I'm interested to see if they polish or just they have to type of situations.
To try out. But today, we're focused on our friends, the Bard, the Ranger, and the Rogue, along with, as you mentioned, a bunch of feats.
Also, sorry if I'm pausing too much. I'm trying to break this down with you guys. Is if they fundamentally change the class, especially in this case of a Ranger of whatever they're about to do, I think they should bake in Hunter's Mark with the Ranger. I have a whole video on my take on the Ranger if you're interested in seeing that. Full breakdown of the whole Ranger. I played this Ranger in my current campaign that just finished up last week. Loved the new Ranger. Love it. Hunter's Mark baked into the class. Anyway, instead of a spell. Anyway, so if they do something like that, then of course they'd have to change all the subclasses if they fundamentally change a class like that. So
Because each of these classes,
You're here for the pauses?
like all of the
Gotcha.
classes in the game, has the option at certain levels of taking feats, including the new ability score improvement feat, which many fans rightly predicted is what was going to be coming. And sure enough,
see it.
when you reach any of the levels that in the past where you would have gotten the ability score improvement feature, now you have the option of taking the ability score improvement feat. Does exactly the same thing as the ability score improvement feature in the 2014 Player's Handbook, or you can take another feat of your choice. If your group is deciding to go beyond the ability score improvement feat and the first level feat that you're getting from your background in the previous Unearthed Arcana.
Okay, I feel like they're making it way more complicated than it needs to be. Like it's like you get your feat, and it's just, everything's a feat, and then you just can choose your points or that. So they're creating a feat that is ability score increase instead of just saying you can then choose to increase your ability score or choose a feat. So I guess they're just making everything a feat, and that's just one of the feats. So yes, I like what Jessica said. However, this makes the feats feel less optional. So yeah, I always have allowed feats. I've never disallowed feats. So interesting. But yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think that he described it very well just then, because he confused me while he was explaining. Like I got it, and then he kept talking, and then I lost it, and I thought I didn't get it, but then I think I do got it. So that was a little journey right there. But you get at places where you could get a feat, you can choose an ability score feat like it is now. So moving on.
This UA also includes
Yeah, for sure. Zach B said it right. Feats were a variant. Now it's like a core thing. I do like that feats. Or I did not like that feats were variant in general. I didn't like that feats were like, oh, you know what? You can choose to use them or not. Like that'd be real. I feel like that's strange. So I like that it's a core.
The arcane, divine, and primal spell lists all the way up to level 9. And it includes
Wait, what?
includes the arcane, divine. This UA also includes the arcane, divine, and primal spell lists all the way up to level 9. And it includes...
He should clarify there when he says level 9. I think he means 9th level spells. So, yeah, but he said level 9, which I don't know. I would think that's a level 9 character. I don't know. Clarity of...
a rules glossary that is filled with even more treasures than the previous one. And here I want to pause a little bit and talk about how do you use these unearthed arcanas together? Because now that we have 2 out as a part of the 1D&D playtest, we would love for people to play using material from multiple 1D&D unearthed arcanas. The one main thing to keep in mind as people playtest is that the rules glossary of each UA supersedes the rules glossaries of any previous 1D&D UAs. So we'd love for you to take the character origin options from the previous UA, combine them with the classes and feats in this UA, but use only the rules glossary from the new Unearthed Arcana. Because
also, I'm seeing in the chat, Dungeon Masterpiece, I totally agree that spell levels and levels of your character and a 5th level spell and a 5th level character can cast a 3rd level spell. Like, what? Like, come on. They either need to come up with something called like tiers, or they just need to have spell levels be the level of and like match them, right? So Fireball would be a 5th level spell. Now it sounds weird saying that, but a 5th level spellcaster can cast Fireball because it's a 5th level spell. That makes way much more sense than what it is currently. And then you would have, 17th level spells. You'd have other level spells, and that would be maybe too much room there because then you could have spells across all levels and that's too many ranges. So I think a tiered system would be a lot cleaner. But either way, those would be the 2 options, not and then half-casters would be the total spell level. So Sneaky Steve's asking about like half-casters. If you would do the same thing you do with like multi-classing, and you would have that. And you would just cut the level in half, and that's what the spell they could cast. But that'd be a whole nother rework there too. So the tier system and calling it something else, either way, I am fine with both of those. So yeah, do we know if there's any new subclasses? Josh, I don't think they have any new. I think it's all reworked, but I have no idea.
Over the course of the next year and a half, we're going to try out different versions of core rules and then see what people think of those different versions. A great example of this is how we're handling critical hits.
Yes.
So you and I, in our video last time, talked about the fact that the previous Unearthed Arcana had a rule that we knew was very experimental,
Right.
and had a good chance of not being what the community was going to cheer for, but we were interested in seeing what do people think, because there were some angles to that rule that we were fascinated in seeing how can this serve the game. We've already seen some of the responses, and you're going to see this time that for the current version of the playtest, we are using the critical hit rule as it exists in the 2014 Player's Handbook. So again, make sure if you're playtesting and everyone else is playtesting, read the new rules glossary, where you'll also see that we are experimenting with different rules this time around for the D20 test. This time we don't have the universal rule of a 20 always succeeding and a 1 always failing.
Oh, boo.
Instead, we are...
Boo. Boo. So, okay, first of all, I do like the setup they're going with. Like, I like that the most current one always supersedes the previous, instead of, like, that's smart. That's good flow. They're gonna let themselves be able to try more things, and then they will be able to make a whole bunch of shots in the, not in the dark, but they can take a whole bunch of shots at a whole bunch of different types of rules, and then in like iteration 5 or 6 or something, start to grab the best ones of each of them and make like, ooh, version 5 is like, oh, there we go, we're starting to see it now. So I do like that. I agree with that fundamental system. I heavily believe in that. But I do love that they backpedaled on the critical strikes, and then I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the critical strikes. I was a huge, gigantic advocate. I made a whole video about the natural 20, natural 1 thing. So either way, it doesn't matter to me because I'm going to do my own thing anyway. So whatever. But here we go. Let's go. Let's keep it going.
Are playing around with some other approaches. Although there, you're also going to find a familiar friend in that we're largely using the 2014 version of the rule, with the catch that this time we're testing rolling a 1 on a d20, giving you inspiration.
Hey, it's like we did a video on that, and I said that in TikTok, I said that in the YouTube video, and that's what I would do.
Interesting.
Because we basically have 3.
I wonder if they had that before. I wonder if they had that, like, all right, cool, we'll release this version, and then in like, a couple weeks we'll release this version with the natural 1 being that, or if they were like, heard all the feedback and people saying things, and I know I'm not the only one that had said that. So I wonder if they're like, oh yeah, let's scoop that up. So, which again, if they do, great, they're making the game better. So there we go.
Different modes we are looking at for getting inspiration in play. Last time we asked everyone to try out getting it when you roll a 20. This time we're asking you to try it out when you roll a 1.
Yes.
We also, in the previous Unearthed Arcana, had another mode in the human of getting inspiration when you finish a long rest. We've actually considered having that as a potential rule for everybody, but right now we want to try out the roll a 1 rule for everybody, and then humans have the special feature of getting it at the end of a long rest.
Right.
Now, speaking of humans and the other content in the previous Unearthed Arcana,
I'm worried about incorporating inspiration like this in too many hard set ways. So I'm not a fan of, like, inspiration should be a dungeon master's tool that they can give out based on their criteria. Cool. If you start implementing it into the game, the gray area spot is the natural 1. I actually could see that. I like that. There's lots of things why it makes sense. Okay, cool, great. But for humans, just to get inspiration because they long rested? Why? What if they're really sad? Like, what if they just lost some very huge... They just lost the battle, and their NPC ally for forever died, and then they go to sleep. Like, I don't feel like they should get inspiration. Now, if they want to try and roleplay something about, like, I'm going to step forward and live on. I'm not going to... They were taken from me, and I'm not going to let them take anyone else, and they have some sort of rousing speech afterwards. Oh, okay, cool. Inspiration. But, like, I'm a human, I get inspiration. Why?
the survey for that UA is still open. And
why does it have to be a human? Like, I know, like, the resilient spirit or whatever, and, like, we can push through, and, like, I don't know, like, they always build that human spirit up in, like, movies and stuff. So maybe that's what they're trying to hit on, but yeah.
And the response has been tremendous. As of today, over 40,000 people have completed the survey.
Awesome.
We'll see how many more people have completed it by the time the survey closes next week. We are then going to go into our investigation of what has everyone said about...
I see people in the chat talking about bards. 100%. They're going to do something with bards and inspiration, and that's probably why the bard is one of the first ones they're coming out with. Ranger, bard, rogue, inspiration. They're going to do something with inspiration. They're going to have it be... They're going to do something, right? And even if you did have fighters get on a long rest and the bard can grant inspiration, I don't think that completely dismantles the bard. I don't think that's too bad. I don't think there's certain things that people like. Having a high armor class. Well, that's like fighter and paladins can do that, and a barbarian could also do that, and lots of people can build classes that have high armor class or whatever. And I know that's not, I guess, a class feature. And if you start talking about class features, I don't want bards to hog the inspiration too much because I guess my inspiration system purposely avoids bards because I use D6s that I give out and they can add on to their rolls. Where bards have their own dice that kind of grows over time, so it's a little bit different, and they have charges for it, and it's a player giving it out instead of me giving it out. So I think they're fine there. So I'm not too so far. Natural ones giving out inspiration, like the bards also giving it out, and the bards should be able to stack it. Like the bards can stack. You can't stack the normal inspiration with itself, but the bards you can stack it on, and then it's like, oh, I could have inspiration and my bard, and then of course everything's fine. So I'm not too worried about that for the bards.
The different options that were in that UA. We will look at all of the satisfaction scores. And then in a future video, you and I will get together and we'll talk about what did people say. And then at a future point in this journey we're on together, we'll present a new version of that Unearthed Arcana incorporating people's feedback. That's going to be the cycle that we're all in together during this long playtest. Just like we did in D&D Next, we're going to present something, we're going to get the feedback back, we'll analyze it, we'll do a new version incorporating feedback, and then we'll get feedback on that new version until, in a few years' time, the game coalesces into the new core books.
We're also going to have several videos all about this Unearthed Arcana that will go a little bit more in depth. It is important to remember, like, we have had a record-breaking amount of people download the playtest. We are very excited, and if you're watching this video, please remember, like, we appreciate all the comments on YouTube and other social networks, but what will really help us in the end is if...
I wonder if they've ever watched a video of mine. I just had that thought. I was like, I wonder if they've ever watched, I don't know. Just thought
You download the playtest, and then take the survey that comes out and leave your feedback. That is how you help us sculpt the future of D&D together.
Yeah, filling out that survey is the best way to have an impact on where this is heading. Now, in addition to responding to what we see there, we're also going to continue to do experiments. So I mentioned we are dealing with the D20 test and getting inspiration differently this time. That's just simply our design process proceeding. That's not even in response to the feedback yet because the survey is still open. So people are going to get to see not only new versions of things that we've heard from the community that they would like to see, you're also going to see new versions of things based on our own internal playtesting and also just different versions of mechanics we want to try out. This is a playtest, and part of that is testing out sometimes multiple versions of things to see which one on its own resonates most for all of us as DMs and players of this game, and then even further, which options sync up well with the other pieces of the game, because D&D is a game with hundreds, if not thousands of moving parts, and we want to make sure that if anything shifts, things are really running together in a way that's going to make people feel in the end, this game is exactly what I want it to be. So this time around, what we're asking people to look at.
That was a really long, like putting out, I don't know, it feels like he's like putting out fires that aren't like, hey, this is our process, it's okay. And like, that was, I don't know, that whole little section there, I don't think was necessarily needed. But, anyway.
Are these classes, which also are framed in a way that is new for the current version of the game.
Let's go ahead and dig into the classes then. So we've got 3 of the classes here, and then we've got subclasses attached. So tell me about what's changed.
So One of the first things is that framing that is going to be new for people. And that is that these three classes are presented as experts. So people are going to see in this Unearthed Arcana that the 12 classes of the Player's Handbook, as well as the Artificer, who, while not in the Player's Handbook, gets mentioned in this UA, each of these classes is now a part of a group in this playtest. The Ranger, the Rogue, and the Bard are part of what's currently called the Expert.
Oh, shoot. They're pairing them up together? They're like categorizing them? Now I see. First of all, if that's true, I love that. I do love that. If that's the case, if they're categorizing them like that, I think that's cool as hell. I hope that they put Warlock, Cleric, and Paladin together and have some sort of, like they're the ones that have a patron type of situation, and they could maybe like group them like that. I've always thought that was interesting. And I've done similar groupings where I've seen other game systems where they have a grouping where they have like the rogue archetype, and it becomes assassin, thief, and kind of even almost bard in that way. You can, depending on the kind of thing, and that's almost what they did here. They have rogue, melee assassin, ranger, range thing with having to deal with nature, and then the bard. But they're all kind of like skills, and they're kind of grouping them together in an interesting way. So I don't know. I am not. Oh, he did that. Cody Jackson said expert, warrior, mage, and priest. That's interesting. But then priest is a weird name if they throw warlock in there with that. So that is interesting. But anyway, I like conceptually grouping them together in that way. I think that's helpful for new players. I think that's going to be cool to describe things with. You want to be an expert with, if they're talking about skills, then maybe the update to the Ranger is going to have some sort of skill monkey type stuff in them, because your Rogue and Bard are very good at skill checks, but then Ranger's not really that great at skill checks, so maybe the Ranger's going to get some more of that. I don't know. Maybe they get automatic skills in like survival every time, or automatic, maybe they just get 2 bonus ones. I don't know. So that's interesting, and I do love the grouping idea. I think that's cool conceptually. Instead of having like whenever a new player comes up, like, yeah, there's 13 classes. Like, whoa.
Group. So hence the name of this Unearthed Arcana, the Expert Classes. In future Unearthed Arcanas, you're going to see the other class groups featured, but we wanted to start with the experts. Now, this new concept of class group, new for the current version of the game, is something that has appeared in D&D's history at various times, going all the way back to even the second edition Player's Handbook grouped classes in a similar way. The big question is here, what do these groups mean? The main thing that they do for us is provide a way to deliver groups of classes certain elements of the game collectively. So you're going to see in this very Arcana, some of the feats, for instance, have certain class groups as prerequisites. You'll see a feat where it says you maybe need to be a member of the expert or the warrior group to take this feat. What that does is it allows us to serve up options to multiple classes simultaneously, and also serve classes like the Artificer that might not be in the same book as the 12 classes that are in the Player's Handbook. Because since we indicate here in this UA that the Artificer counts as an expert, that means anything that members of that group qualify for, the Artificer qualifies for.
Artificer's an expert.
And if we were ever to make a new class and put it into one of these groups, then suddenly it is able to tap into the shared tech of that group. You're going to see this in the next year or so, where you'll see magic items that, rather than having a particular class or a particular feature as a prereq, we'll have one of these groups or multiple groups as a prerequisite. You're also going to see that in many cases, while the classes have retained their distinctiveness and their delightful asymmetry, where they work in the ways that are most appropriate for those individual classes, you're going to see more common pieces. So one example of that in this current Unearthed Arcana is all 3 of the expert classes have the expertise feature. The expertise feature is the signature feature of experts. And so that means even the ranger now has it. The bard and the rogue already had it in the 2014 Player's Handbook. Well, now the ranger gets it too, because one of the aspects of the ranger's class fantasy
There you go.
is being
Called it.
the best in a group, particularly at things like survival, stealth,
Wallpaper.
so that the ranger can be fantastic at what is iconic for them. And expertise is one of the ways that we do that. Another thing that the experts all have in common is that they
I do like, I agree, Squams. I like what they're saying. And also, I think, who is it, Vortraz? I just made a note to go watch Dale Kingsville's video. So I got you. I appreciate the point in that direction. She's awesome. Dale Kingsville is in Alcantar's Almanac of all things. She's in one of the pictures. But yeah, so yeah, expertise. I guess they're going to get it at the class level. I think he could have talked more clearly there, because I mean, getting it something they have I don't know if he said feat or feature, so I could go back and listen to that again. But they're going to get that skill, which then now it makes sense why they're in that category. And I like that look for the ranger. I like that. I like them giving that a little bit of love in that way. So let's go.
are polymaths. They like to have pieces within their classes that are reminiscent of things in other groups. So it is by design that all three of the experts have components within them that are reminiscent of things that you might see in the warrior group, the mage group, the priest group, but here mixed together in a way that is unique. Priest group.
Who's in the priest group? Priest, I think, is very specific of a word. Like acolyte, maybe? I don't know what other words. I'm not really good at naming things like that. But priest is like cleric paladin. You're going to put druid in there? Warlock? Yeah, druid, cleric, paladin. See, but druid, priest, I guess shaman, druid, you know? So, monk? Oh, monk, see? Squams is saying monk. I don't know. But then I guess monk would feel kind of good there as far as my vision of the monk. That feels kind of good there they have a little bit more focus. So you have like each of the groups has, mage. What would a mage? No, mage wouldn't have a melee. They need to make a melee mage class, battle mage type situation. But anyway, interesting. Like it. I like it though. I like it.
Unique to each of the expert classes. Now we can dive in to each of the classes individually and their subclasses.
Holy, we have 136 people here in this live stream. Welcome, and we just set a stream record. Thank you guys. Let's keep going.
But that overview, I think, is exciting because it shows that we're not only thinking now of the classes as individuals and also then as a whole family, but then also in these subgroups. And we can leverage these groups in a variety of ways that I think are going to be really fun, not only in terms of the options that we'll be able to give people, but even when it comes to party building. Something we note in this current article is that when you're building a party now, if you want to create sort of a classic balanced D&D party,
one of each.
One way you can do that is make sure you have a member in your group from each of the class groups.
That's cool.
Also, something that...
that's cool for people, again, for newbies, for new players, we want to have, again, you don't have to, by no means. I've had a group with 3 warlocks in it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to, but I love that concept. And my brain started rolling there in the middle, so I want to stop. I'm thinking about what if I ran challenges in Alcantar's Almanac, and I've done videos on this with travel. You have you have different people in different roles, and you have when you're traveling, you can have a scout, you can have a navigator, you can have all these different types of roles you can do while traveling. Maybe certain people from certain class groups get different things. You know, if you're in the warrior group, you have advantage on defender checks or all this other kind of stuff. There's interesting stuff that you could do here within skill challenge, within travel, within all the social role play, all the different parts of the game. I think that's really interesting. I think it's really interesting. Also, for all the new people here, I'm going to be doing a video on this and posting it as soon as I can. I'm going to go through the whole thing, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to dive through the PDF that they release tomorrow and put something out super quick. Whoa. Scatterbug with a $10 super chat, stream record, let's go. And Dungeon Masterpiece with a $11.11. Scatterbug's going to be upset with you for the uneven numbers. Your stream is number 11111. Appreciate it, bros. Appreciate it. Thanks, Scatterbug. Thanks, Dungeon Masterpiece. Let's go. All right, let's go.
People are going to see in both the Ranger and the Bard in the Unearthed Arcana is a list of suggested prepared spells. One thing that we have seen over the last 8 years very clearly is that sometimes playing a spellcaster can be a little daunting.
Right.
And so what...
100%. They're doing this in the World of Warcraft is releasing a new expansion, and they have like all these options, and it's really confusing. But they're like, hey, if you don't really know a lot, here's a default template, and that's a great move. So seeing Dungeons & Dragons do this, absolutely love that. Playing a spellcaster is crazy. Anytime I have a new player that plays a spellcaster, I do this for them. So this is saving me some time right here. And I would love also if they had little explanations of the rules. So I'm going to give them massive props and bonus points if the list of spells that they've chosen in this little pre-curated list, if they have small little descriptors next to it, be like, oh, this spell, it kind of does this. Okay, cool. And this spell, it basically is like does this, okay. So anyway, I always do that myself for my players. Anytime I have a new spellcaster, I let them, we talk about the spell, what kind of stuff you want to do, and then I curate that list for them, and then I give it to them. They can choose from it, and then they can learn as much or as little as they want, depending on how much they want to invest in it. They can always go read the book themselves, but I try and make it easier for them.
What we've done to make it a bit easier to ease into playing a spellcasting class that you've never played before is we provide from level 1 all the way up to level 20 a set of suggested prepared spells for the class. Wow. So again, you're going to see that here in the Bard, you're going to see it in the Ranger, and in future Unearthed Arcanas, when we get to other spellcasting classes, you're going to see it in them as well, where we take some of the most iconic spell options and put them on a list so that, again, whether you're a new player or a veteran who may be just like, I don't feel like making a choice, please, D&D book, tell me, you can go to that class, look at the suggested list of prepared spells, and just start with that. You still have, of course, the option every time you finish a long rest to change that list, but it gives you a nice starting point. So that you maybe don't have to do quite as much homework when you decide to dive into a spellcasting class that's new for you.
So ritual spellcasting has changed, or rather people have more access to it now?
Yes. So one of the many goodies in the rules glossary is the simple but important note that we are playtesting currently that basically, if you can cast a spell and it has the ritual tag, you have the option of casting it as a ritual. In the past, the character had to have a feature that specifically unlocked rituals for them. And
I love it.
We've decided to experiment instead with just the ability of, again, if you can cast the spell and it has the ritual tag, you have the option of casting it as a ritual. And just have that turn.
100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. I'm totally fine with that. That's totally fine. It's totally fine. This is like this is the type, play around with this type of stuff. And even from a game design perspective, whenever I am making a spell, like when I'm homebrewing a spell, I don't think of the classes, what class have ritual. Think about the spell. The balance should be based around the spell, and if the spell would be broken or not, if it's a ritual component, if it could be casted ritually or not. Not which classes can cast rituals. So let the warlocks, freaking just the craft warlock ritual casting. Heck yeah, let's go. I'm totally fine with it. Or, oh, I didn't. I thought Silvermage said this, but what if you could do only mage class options? Only mage class group can do ritual casting. That's kind of cool. Mage and priest, they can do ritual casting, but the other ones can't. Ooh, you see how I'm combining stuff that they're saying with themselves? Let's go.
Turned on for spellcasters of all sorts.
And all the classes eventually get, and we didn't touch upon this, also can get access to epic feats or epic boons.
That is right. Now, every class, what was previously their 20th level feature, they now get at 18th level. And instead, now at 20th level, those epic boons that are in the 2014 Dungeon Master's Guide, you now get one when you hit 20th level. Now, we have a suggested one for each class, but when you hit 20th level, you now get to pick. And those epic boons have been reimagined as...
Oh, man, I'm already loving this because, I mean, you hit level 20 and the game's about to end. So you hit level 20, you get your capstone class feature, and then the game's about to end. You know what I'm saying? So... I love this so much that you get your class's capstone at 18, meaning you get to play 18, 19, and 20, assuming that you want to go to a max level camp for those high-end, whatevers. Like, oh, man, that's awesome. Because I've ran a 20th level campaign. It was a 3-year-long deal. And they hit level 20. They literally had, I think, 4 sessions at level 20, and then it was over. So... I really like that. And then sure, give them an epic boon, capstone, level 20, boom, epic boon. Yes, awesome, cool. And you can go crazy with it. Make a custom one. Give them whatever they want. Do a homebrew, bonus level up perk. Love it. And multi-classing. I had that Reese Rudy. I had that thought in my head. I was like, oh, now... if you ever multi-class, I just can't get that capstone now. So the barbarian can't get that 20th level capstone to be able to get the strength and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, actually you can. You can dip 2 levels into something.
Many of them are also available in this Unearthed Arcana.
That's awesome.
Is that it? Oh, all right. All right. Cool. All right, hold up. So here we go. I'm excited to see what they drop tomorrow. So stay tuned tomorrow for what we're going to be coming down with, because that is going to be something else. I want to see what they're doing with the Ranger. I want to see what they did with the Ranger. I have a lot of opinions on the Ranger because I have a whole thing on the Ranger. If you want to check it out, type Dungeon Coach Ranger on YouTube and you'll find it. I'm in a Power Ranger costume at one point in the video, so shenanigans. Really excited to see with that Ranger situation. Bard, and I want to see what they did with specifically Inspiration and Rogue. What are they doing with the Rogue? I think the Rogue's fine. I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I wrong saying the Rogue is fine? Chat, let me know. Are the Rogues fine? I feel like the Rogues are fine. They do solid damage. They got their whole sneak attack thing going on. They got expertise with stuff. They got stealth. No, I don't feel like anyone's like, Rogues need some love. A Rogue, no. What does no mean? Are Rogues good? I guess I should have asked the question better. Are Rogues fine? Are Rogues in a good spot? Rogues need a bit in response. Rogues are fine? Yeah, they're great. Yeah, they're great. Rogues are fine. No. I've got one no for a rogue. Yeah, I don't know. Rogues need some love too. Oh, man, I feel like Rogues are so good. Sneak attack is dumb. Fight me. Oh, man, that's interesting. You can get cap and then you can choose the epic boon or multi-classing. He's fine with maybe a little boost. Yeah, I mean, I think we're talking into the game, so I think it's just all about what people want and like whatever they want to do with their class vision and stuff. Assassin needs some work. I'm interested to see what they're doing with all the subclasses. So, Ranger needs marriage. What? So yeah, I am going to be doing a full video on this whenever it comes out tomorrow. I'm gonna chew through it, dissect it, and get you guys a video as quick as I can with it. So I can let y'all know what my thoughts are, because man, this is some cool stuff. And they're backpedaling on some of the other. Now I guess I shouldn't say backpedaling because that makes it sound like we like that's part of their design, is they're going to try out different rules and then they're going to take the heat off of that, go back to normal, and then let everybody else kind of just focus on the new shiny toys in the room. So yeah, so my question is there any specific questions you guys have for me to kind of have on my mind? I have a notepad, I have notes here. Is there any sort of thing to keep on my mind when I'm doing this, so that whenever I make that video, I can keep that in mind? If you have any like questions or thoughts, so I can give you my thoughts on whatever it is now. But I'm excited for what they're doing. Just people they want to succeed. This is +5. Wait, just let people write whatever they want. And that's another thing is like whatever's happening, it's all optional anyway. Like, at least from my perspective, I'm not sticking to the core rule book, like hardcore, no matter what I think. I've just made my own. I just made Alcander's Almanac and just was like, haha, which essentially is a full expansion already. So, which also is compatible with all the stuff they're doing. So I love that. That was awesome news. What do you think inspiration is going to be +1 instead of advantage? No, I think it's going to be advantage. I think it is going to be advantage. I don't think it would be a +1, because that would feel bad. I really hope that inspiration doesn't become a +1, because the amount of times that could make a change would be very small. Like, oh, the DC, and it could be intelligible. Like, you're supposed to roll, you make an acrobatics check to something, oh, inspiration, and your 13 goes to a 14. All right, well, was the DC 15 and that didn't matter? Was the DC 14 and it exactly mattered? Or was the DC 13 and it doesn't matter? You know what I'm saying? So I hope it's not a +1. AA all day. Thanks, Greg Stafford, Josh Sellers. Thanks, y'all. I want to see I want my rogue to grapple instead of sneak attack being 46. Maybe it only deals 2d6 plus the grapple. Oh, interesting. Grappling rogues. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But see, like, even then, like, off the top of my head, Reese Rudy, if I wanted to make a grappling rogue, then maybe you're gonna have to multi-class into something, or maybe pick up a certain feat. Or if you're a rogue at my table, this is exactly why I do bonus level up perks. If Reese Rudy was playing a rogue at my table, I'd be like, sweet, do a rogue, and like any sort of things that the rogue had that was missing, like what you're saying here, I'd be like, you have a bonus level up perk where if you can get a sneak attack off, you can sacrifice half of your sneak attack damage to add a grapple to it. Ooh, cool, right? Cool. So anyway, and then new grappling mechanics is dex based. Yeah, totally. Surprise from sexual what did I just say there? Successful stealth roll. I want wizards to prepare individual spell slots again. I want my casters to play differently instead of only being thematically different. I want to prepare individual spell slots again. Oh, Bruce, I think I never played when wizards did that, but wizards had to actually prepare actual spells like in a scroll. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I do like the concept of the casters playing differently and it feeling different. I have a whole thing that I have on my vault of many things to rework and overhaul and flesh out. But that's interesting. We see what's on your mind. What's on my mind? We see what's on my mind. What's on my mind? From my Freudians. That's funny. My wife's about to pop a kid out. So I don't know about that. Just the cry. Inspiration from failure in that one's conceptually, but I think mechanically it's solid. Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think the natural one on inspiration. I'm definitely gonna say that in the video that I make is a great thing. For like, oh dang, I just got a natural one, and I feel like in some ways it's gonna let players really be able to dive into the natural one and not be like, oh man, like they can have the natural one and they can like go and roll with it and like get the inspiration. Okay, cool, right? So yeah. And I also need to make that inspiration video on how all the different ways you can run inspiration, because my inspiration is actually this. Hey, where is it? Where did I put it? There it is. These are my inspiration dice. These are my inspiration dice. You know these are. You've seen these before. back in my Magic the Gathering days. I give these out as my inspiration. They're little D6s. Chuck them out across the table anytime something cool happens. Well, that's very vague, but I'm not going to get into how I run inspiration. But yeah, I hand those out, and the more inspiration people have, they sit them in front of them. They have to put them on they put them in a certain spot on the table, and I can see how many inspiration they have. They usually put them in their dice tray, but I can see how many inspiration they have. So if I look over and they have 2, I'll be like, okay, you already have 2 inspiration. And if I look over and they have 4, I'm like, okay, I'm probably not going to give you any more inspiration. You're just hoarding them at this point. And if they have none, I'm going to probably give them inspiration more often. So anyway, or the threshold for what gives inspiration is less. And they can just for the record, so that we are all on the same page, any inspiration die you can add up to your proficiency bonus and inspiration dice to any D20 roll, but you have to add it to the roll before I say if it fails or not. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. And yeah, cool. I think that's everything, y'all. So stay tuned for tomorrow. This is a little different the stream than usual. You know what I'm saying? This was a big thing. I wanted to jump on, break it down with you guys, pause it a bunch, and then go into it from there. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. And right now, if y'all are interested,
what's up, guys? Ami here with
I have my second channel that I'm about to go hang out and chill. If you want to continue the chill party, I stream on my other channel. Where's the link? There we go. I'm about to hop over here in a couple minutes and jump on this. I stream World of Warcraft as I kind of wind down at the end of the day. And if y'all want to jump on there and talk, I don't just talk about World of Warcraft. I talk about D&D. In fact, most people that come to my World of Warcraft streaming talk about D&D with me. We just talk about D&D or whatever it is. Josh Zellers will join. Matthew Heyman's always there. We just hang out and chat while we just shoot the shit. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, thanks for breaking a record tonight, y'all. That was crazy. We're even right now. We're over 100. So awesome, cool stuff. Different stream layout. I guess you guys like it. Cool. And much love to you guys too. Stay creative and get ready to break outside that box tomorrow. Peace.